Okay guys, welcome back to Hanger 51. So in my last video you saw where we had sanded this down. I did just a little bit more sanding, not much. We were pretty much done. And then I blew out the dust so it's a little more, it's not quite as black as it was. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to sand this area here to get all this gatoring out. Let me put that back up there so you can see what I'm talking about. You see the gatoring in that piece that glued back in. Same on the bottom, right there. Okay, so we're going to sand that gatoring out, and that'll prep it for the wall spackle, the lightweight wall spackle, and we're going to do both of these at the same time with the wall spackle. So still going to stay with this 220 sandpaper, and we're just going to work on this. See if we can sand this down a little bit. Now I could probably just use my knife and shave it, but I don't want to get too crazy. It won't take that long to sand it down, so we'll just sand it out. I think the bottom is going to go very fast because it's pretty level to the rest of the wing. So the wall spackle will fill in a little bit of. Now I'm going to give you another little tip. If you're doing a repair where there's white and black or white and another color, and you don't want to transfer your black or blue or whatever color to the white, sand them separately with separate sandpaper, because as you sand the black paint and then sand into the white, it's going to transfer into it. Okay, now I'm planning on repainting this anyway, so it's not a big deal, but just a little tip. If you're doing a little, tape off the white area so you don't sand into it and transfer the dark color paint into the white, because it will get in the pores of the white, and then you'll have to just another piece of extra work you can avoid just by putting a piece of tape over it. So just a little advice. I'm not worried about it because I gotta paint the white in. I gotta repaint the stripe, and this is a sticker, but it's been sanded away. I don't have that particular vinyl, so I'm just gonna touch it up with some paint. It'll look fine. It's a little bit of the decal right there holding me up. Let me see if I can just trim that off. There we go. Okay. Now at this stage, you just want to get it pretty smooth. You don't have to get it exact because you're going to be adding the foam fill. Let me see if I can shave that a little bit. I don't know if that'll work or not. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, probably going to create more of a problem than good. Yeah, so I just took a notch. No big deal. That'll fill with the feather fill. We'll fill that in, so it's not a big deal. Patience, guys. That's the trick to this. Don't get in a hurry. Don't try to take shortcuts like I just did while trying to shave that, because you just end up making more work for yourself. It doesn't take that long to just sand this out, so just sand it out. Don't get creative trying to shave it down to the very last nook, because what I ended up doing is I put a little teeny gouge in it over here. It's very small, no big deal, but now it's going to take more putty in that area to build it back up than it would have if I'd have just left, if I hadn't tried to shave it. So just another little tip: don't get ahead of yourself. Don't try to go too fast. Don't try to take shortcuts. It'll just cost you more time in the end. So that's pretty good, actually. We're looking pretty good here. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Let me get this even here. I think we got a little bit more over here. Really coming out pretty good, guys. And then just a little bit fine sanding here, just to finish up this area. Now, depending on what your wing condition looks like before you start this, if there's foam cell visible and you want to keep that, well, then you don't. When you've got it, gaitered like this, you only want to sand it down until you match the foam celling next to it. You don't want to make it perfectly smooth. Then you'll be able to see where the rest of the wing is not. So this area here on this particular wing is in the black is perfectly smooth. There's no foam cell detection. So I can do whatever I want with this, as much sanding and filling and smoothing as I want, because when I'm done and reshoot the whole wing, or I'm not gonna, I'll feather it into, I'll do a feather bleed blend into the two areas outside the work area, and it'll all be smooth black when I'm done, and you won't be able to see the difference. But if you could see the foam cells through the paint, on some planes you can, well then you want to try to duplicate that. So when you steam this out into, and get it to gator, then you can sand it smooth and still see the cells in the sanding, and then you want to stop. That way when you paint it, you'll still see those cells, and it'll match the rest of the wing and look like, it won't look like it's been repaired. You'll still have that cell texture showing through the paint. So you can match that. It's just a matter of getting the steaming to the right level where you can sand it without sanding it completely. So I'm sanding it completely off because there's no texture in this wing, in the black. So I'm going to go ahead and sand it all off. But if I was trying to match the texture, I would have stopped already and left that texture in it. And then you would see that texture through the paint when I did the repaint. All right, I think that looks pretty good. If you've got an air gun, where you can blow that out, that I would advise that. It helps. And I do have one, so I probably will. I'll just use my airbrush to give it a final blow before I go to the next level. But here's what we're at now. So you can see where, even in the black now, you can see exactly where the repair is, because I've sanded it smooth and there's a little bit of black and glue in the joint. But it's perfectly smooth now. And then as we go around the front here, let me flip it over, and same thing there. So now we're ready to put the spackle on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do both repairs at the same time with the wall spackle. So we're going to spackle all this in and all this in at the same time, top and bottom. And then we'll let all that dry, and then we'll sand again to smooth all that out. And then we'll probably do a prime coat. And then after I do the prime coat, I'm going to glue the little toothpicks in here to recreate the vortex generators, and then we'll do a final paint over that. So let me just stop the video for a second while we get the wall spackle, and then we'll move on to that. Okay, so I'm back, and I did take my airbrush and I blew all this out. So this might look a little brighter, a little whiter than it did a minute ago. Because I tried to get all the dust out of there I could, and I did all right. It's fine. Got enough of it out. Okay, so the product we're going to use now is this DAP Fast and Final Lightweight Spackle. Okay, and this is a great product. It goes on easy. It dries pretty quickly. And it does a great job of filling in all this